Hi, everybody. Welcome to AITA Pod. I'm joined today by two lovely guests. Our previous guest, Kat, returns, the yoga teacher, and she brought along her husband, Kyle, today. Kyle, welcome to the show.
Hey.
Wow, your voice changed, Kyle.
Yeah.
It's a deep voice, and we understand. Kat was telling me that you're like a good person, which is, a little uncomfortable for me. I guess we have an asshole pod, but I don't know if I'm as good of a person as you. You had to delay the recording today because you were cleaning the beach, picking up trash.
Not just picking up trash.
Yeah.
I was sorting trash.
Sorting
today.
it.
So once you pick up the trash, right, and
Yeah.
you do this with a group,
Right.
you throw all that trash into a heap, and then you need to sort through it. You take out your recyclables.
Right.
You sort and you count everything that is picked up that day. So you're counting forks, you're counting pieces of styrofoam, you're counting bottle caps.
Why is that necessary?
So the groups that I volunteer with, they advocate for like sustainability legislature locally. So things like single-use plastic bans, or reusables in restaurants, things like that.
Right.
And they use the data from what we collect at the beach when they are making their presentations and advocating for different bits of local legislature. And so that's led me to some really interesting and unexpected places.
Well, that's incredible. I mean, I think it's important to clean the beach, and I don't want to do it, so thank you for doing it. I don't dirty the beach. Let me say that. I don't leave no trash on the beach, ever.
So here's something really interesting about that, about like where like the beach trash comes from. So none of the sewers in Los Angeles and the storm drain systems, they're not filtered. So anything that's like left on the street, could be way inland, anywhere in the LA watershed. Whenever it rains, all the stuff on the street goes into the storm drains and then like blasts out at the beachheads.
So, and this is because what people will say? They'll be like, oh, how is it littering? The city is litter. And it's like, well, it's going to go right into the ocean, you fucking idiot. So don't throw your cigarette butt out.
We collected, I think, like just my group today, when we were sorting trash, we found 93 cigarettes. The one of the groups I volunteer with, Surfrider LA, they bring this big like water cooler jug to all their beach cleanups, and they fill it with cigarettes that they find.
Oh God!
So it's like
making me gag.
It's all full of cigarette butts right now. It's just wild.
You go to get a glass of water and it's just
Oh, I'm gonna throw up. Stop. That's so gross.
They're all dried.
Okay.
So it's like, dried, not like
cigarette butt filtered water. Speaking of disgusting things, we were talking about sustainability. We're getting some headlines now about private jets. We the people are pissed. Enough, rich people who are taking their private jets on very short flights. Who did this start with? I think it was Kim K.
One of the sisters, I think, like one of the younger ones.
What's the little one? Chloe
Kendall.
Chloe with a K? Is that right? You can't legally spell Chloe with a K. Is that how she spells it? She really does it. Everybody's talking about this. Here we go. Kardashian slammed for 17-minute private jet flight to beat traffic.
That's bananas.
This was Kylie?
Kylie. Ooh, that's close to your name. That's very close, Kyle.
What a coincidence.
Yeah.
So, and this is Celeb Jets, which is the same guy who's tracking Elon Musk. We love to see this. This kid is really fucking people's shit up. He made an automated bot that tracks, but now people are coming for Taylor Swift. Apparently the queen of pop country is the queen of private jets.
America's sweetheart. No.
Fox News even covering it. It's some kind of bad when Fox News is covering basically an environmental story. Good Lord. 170 times this year, and she's not on tour.
Wow.
And I saw this hilarious meme on Twitter of like a helicopter flying like on the outskirts of a skyscraper, and they were saying Taylor Swift going from her kitchen to her bedroom.
That's good. I remember being a little kid and asking my mom how long it would take to take a jet from our house to my grandparents' house, which was like a couple blocks away. Like it was like a 20-minute walk or something.
Yeah.
And my mom just being like, I can't answer that question because that is so stupid. Like no one would ever do that.
Right.
But it's almost.
I think a helicopter could save you time, but the jet, you gotta go on the runway.
Yeah.
You gotta get altitude, and then you'd have to land by a runway by grandma's house. house. Does grandma even have a runway?
My
It's a
grandma
whole
did
thing.
not have a runway. No.
You hate to hear it.
I'm currently taking environmental science community college classes. You know, probably the only person moves to LA thinking, oh, I'm gonna like get into music and like pursue acting and like film and stuff. And I get into beach cleanups and community college science classes. But in one of my classes, they had us do this thing. It's a website. It is called footprintcalculator.org. And on the footprint calculator, you can input general lifestyle things that you do, and the calculator will spit out how many planet Earths it would take to sustain that sort of lifestyle. Like if everyone in the world had your lifestyle, how many planets you would need for all of those resources. And something that I found from doing mine was that my day job, I'm a videographer and editor, and I used to fly around before the pandemic, you know, all the time. You know, fly out to film someone, fly back, blah, blah, blah.
Sure.
And when I was changing that variable,
it
took my Earths from 3.5 during the pandemic when I wasn't flying to, I think, like 10 plus
Whoa.
when I was
Oh my
flying
God.
like bi-monthly.
Wild.
Planes just produce a wild amount of, you know, emissions. And so that was, for me, that was really like an interesting eye-opening moment. Like, oh my, lots of consequences here. Granted, I think this is also to say, I think it is very important for us to like not demonize individuals that do not have wild amounts of wealth like your Kardashians and your Taylor Swifts, because we're just trying to get by. Like, I need to do my job. I need to work. There aren't a whole lot of options for you to live a more sustainable life. So, you know, it's like, it's good and it's eye-opening, but like I would encourage people to maybe like not beat yourselves up too much about like those, you know, lifestyle decisions that are largely out of your control, because that's the system we live in.
Right. That's all. I just did the test, footprintcalculator.org. I got 5.6 Earths. So that's pretty bad. We need 4.6 more Earths for people to live like me. And I drive a hybrid. I feel like I'm doing more than everyone.
Oh man, I can't remember what mine was, but it was higher than I thought. And I don't like even drive at all. And I was like, okay, but there's still like, I think I had like 4. Yeah.
God. I mean, but we should do little things, right? I mean, I heard this great fact recently, you know, that if you just try to eat vegetarian, vegan, 4 or 5 days a week, that's like if half of people were actually vegan.
Yeah,
if everyone did that,
sure.
it would be like if half people were full vegans.
We do basically do that. I think that's something that made a dent for me when I heard that as well. Like I can't eat fully vegan for health reasons, but I do like eat mostly vegan. Like I don't eat meat that much. If somebody gives me a really good piece of sashimi, I'm not going to say no.
Yeah,
but most of the time, and
that's
I was
hard.
raised vegetarian too. So like we didn't have to be vegetarian, but my mom was, my aunt was, and people who cooked for us was. So I never learned how to cook meat. So it's just easier for me most of the time.
Yeah. And I think it's something as Americans, we love to, you know, make everything about the individual, like, oh, well, it's your fault because you're not vegan, and really like shift the blame from businesses and governments that have, you know, just been abusing the environment for so long.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess I feel like we should try, but yeah, it's like 100 corporations causing all the pollution, right? I mean, I feel you. I like this phrase. It's like society-size problems, society-size solutions.
Yeah.
But, you know, we should try. I mean, why not try? You know, come on. But anyway, we want to get into this here. Performance art. Now, this is interesting. You guys got to understand, just to bring this in a bit, you know, I do stand-up, not very much this year, but some stand-ups talk shit about improvisers. Stand-ups talk extra double shit about performance artists. And so we were sitting in the kitchen and talking, and Kat, you know, you described Kyle's previous work as performance art, which he took objection to, and then some poets got mad. So yeah, let's get into this.
The mad poets. So yeah, do you want me to start, or do you want to? I could start with the cucumbers.
Go for it, Kat.
Okay, so we were talking about cucumbers for reasons I can no longer recall, but we were talking about cucumbers, and I was sharing about the time when Kyle and I had first started dating. Kyle did this, what I referred to as a performance art piece, where he would sacrifice a cucumber on stage, and then he would serve the cucumber as communion to the audience. And I would
kind of sliced up
like circles.
Like little sliced circles, just like the body of Christ.
Exactly.
Right.
Okay, so
Yes.
it's kind of making fun of Catholicism.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then also yoga too, because you do like some yoga type
Oh, yeah,
stuff
that's
as well.
part of it.
And so I would often be
Damn.
like the person in the audience who would sit in the front and take the first cucumber and, you know, get other people to get going with it. And so Kyle had this show, and I was going to go there, and he realized that he forgot to buy a cucumber. So he said, Kat, can you go buy me a cucumber? And so I go to this grocery store, and, you know, I should have in retrospect purchased a couple of other things besides just the cucumber. Anything at all.
Right. It's
But-
a weird look to buy a single
A
cucumber.
single cucumber. But I'm just in a hurry. I'm like, we got to get this for the show. It's, you know, a drive out. I got to get this. So I'm checking out with a single cucumber. And I realize at that moment how weird it looks. And I'm like, no, it's for my boyfriend. No, not like that. It's goodbye, bye. So then I purchased the single cucumber very awkwardly and did deliver it to Kyle. And I would say the show was a hit. You sacrificed the fuck out of that cucumber.
People love a good cucumber sacrificing. The name of the piece was Culinary Art. So I'm originally from Scranton, Pennsylvania, and when I lived in Scranton, I was really involved in the local arts community. I played in a jam band for a while. My friend Kevin and I used to put on film screenings and editors' workshops. I hung out with poets for a while. And
Poets.
when I was doing poetry, I would do very high energy poetry. I would be very physical. I would, you know, yell, do very dramatic things. And when we started booking shows, some of the other spoken word performers were kind of like, didn't really like to say that I was a poet when they like next to their sets, because they would just like, you know, get up and read their stuff and be very serious about it. And I'm doing this weird bombastic crap. So they started billing me as like, oh, well, you're not a poet, you're a performance artist. So I'm like, well,
they were threatened.
like, well, okay, I guess this is what I'm doing now. And that led to me just like heightening and getting progressively more absurd.
What would you have called it at that point? Or were you fine with this kind of...
I mean, I don't really care. Like, I think people get really hung up on this kind of stuff. Like, for me, I was just trying to like do fun poetry. Like, that's what I was trying to write at the time.
Right.
You
But
know.
the poet said, fuck you, this is performance art. Don't you dare bill yourself as a poet.
Yeah.
Right. So then it just got to, you know, more and more absurd stuff from there. Like, I had another piece my friend called, what was it? Like the strangling of the chicklet or something, where I would make noises on a synthesizer. We would wear masks. Kevin would yell. My art partner would yell, God, this shit really hurts my ears when I'm making this stuff. We'd give someone a belt in the audience. They would come up, strangle Kevin
I
with
don't
a
even
belt.
remember this one.
What the fuck?
Yeah, we did do one together called "She Looked Hot in the Obituary."
Oh, yeah, that was really
that was
fun.
really fun. It was Kyle. I wrote.
We wrote a composite obituary based on both of our deceased grandmothers
or great grandmothers, and then I made an interpretive dance to the obituary, and Kyle made wrote a song, and then I did the interpretive dance, and then Kyle.
I read the obituary into a loop pedal, but I read it phonetically backwards.
And so then I had to do the dance backwards. So that is hard because you can like improvise if you mess up if you're doing a dance piece by yourself.
Sure.
But if you have to do it again backwards, you really can't. And if you make like one mistake, it's super like it's done. And we're doing a variety show tomorrow. And Kyle was like, "Hey, do you want to do this piece?" And I was like, "No, I definitely do not, because I don't remember that dance and I don't have time to learn it backwards. So no."
So the conceit of the piece is that the first half of it, you're hearing me speak gibberish and you're seeing Kat do this dance.
Right.
Halfway through, we stop on the loop pedal and we reverse the loop. So then the loop plays back the music and the voice track normal. Like, think of it like the Black Lodge from Twin Peaks with a weird kind of like stilted delivery. And so then Kat flips the dance for the second half of the song, of the
That's
piece.
crazy.
Yeah.
So it you know.
So I'm just curious on the zoom out of performance art, though, right?
Sure.
Because like I think to break this down a bit, you know, stand up is really about being as funny as possible, and it's not for other stand up comedians, really. I think, you know, then you move kind of down the spectrum into improv, and improv is, you know, honestly, and nobody talks about this, but short form improv is really a lot like stand up. It's very
It
popular.
is,
People fucking love
yeah,
it.
They do.
People love it. There's theaters all over. We had Who's Line on TV, et cetera, et cetera. But that's not cool. right?
Right,
And so then most improv is then long form improv, especially in the cool cities, your Chicago's, your LA's, your New York's. But improv is largely performed in front of other improvisers.
Yes, 100%.
But then we go to performance art. So, I'm worried I'm going to come off as condescending here, but I'm just going to be real with y'all. Why?
Who's it for?
Who's it for? Who's it for?
It's
What goes through your head? Yeah.
It's for your friend who says, "Hey, I want to do a show. Could you do a thing in my show?" And you say, "Yeah, I'll do a weird thing." That said, I mean, like, we go to the Elysian often here in LA, and my favorite thing ever. You know Jamie Loftus? She has the Bechdel cast.
Yeah, I've heard of her.
Yeah, she does these amazing, wild, like, scripted things, like, where she'll just, like, I think the last one she drank an entire, I mean, it's well researched, it's a really entertaining show, but she also, like, drinks a goblet of hot dog water during it, you know, or like she had,
and that's verifiably hot dog water.
Verifiably.
Yes, she got pretty sick, I think. Yeah,
I respect that.
Yeah, or just like
when we say hot dog water, what do we mean? The liquid that's in the hot dog package? Like, that's a very high concentrated hot dog water.
I think she had like a
that's making me sick.
Yeah,
I think she had a tub of them like cooking.
She
stage,
cooked them all.
right.
No, she had cooked them at home all day. She said, or like all weekend. Like, she'd like been cooking the hot dogs, and then she brought it in and she just drank the goblet of hot dog water.
God.
Like how you'd make a cafeteria hot dog by like boiling
and
them all
it's
with that.
I am going to go see that show again in August. It was so good.
And she drinks the whole gallon.
It was like a goblet. It was a very like,
goblet,
you know, if you get like a like when people, I don't think I've ever had one, but I've seen them, like when people have like those fishbowl drinks, like it.
Like the giant margarita.
Yeah, it's like in one of those glasses. Only it was like just her.
It's interesting because the last time I heard about hot dog water was from Limp Bizkit, which is not right. What is it called? Something in the hot dog flavored water, starfish in the hot dog flavored water. What was that?
I haven't thought of that since childhood.
So I would say on the subject of like performance art, for me as a performer, I really like to fuck with expectations. And like, I don't think it's something I was initially doing consciously, but then I got a little bit of encouragement. So of course I ran with it. But I like to see what people are doing and then do something different.
Yeah.
And that led to a lot of the weird stuff I was doing in Scranton. And another way that this pops up for me is when I was playing in the jam band for a while, I noticed that like, you know, like rock shows are just like kind of boring sometimes. And crowds in Pennsylvania, in Scranton in particular, are notoriously antagonistic to whoever performs. Like, you can play your stuff flawlessly, like put your heart into it, and people just be like, whatever, I'm gonna get a couple 2-3 beers or something. And so like, I was trying really hard to be a serious artist and to be like, you know, I got to be like a technically proficient bass player and like we got to be like really tight and stuff. And I was just driving myself, you know, like I wasn't having any fun.
Yeah, nobody cares really.
So then we're like, wait a second, what if instead of doing it this way, we play a really technical song, then the next song we play all root notes, and instead of using a pick, I'm going to use a dildo and smack my bass with a dildo for 5 minutes. And people loved it. And we did another song that was just like a really slow, sleepy thing. And we introduced the next song by everybody screaming into their guitars and pounding on the floor for a full 2 minutes to wake everybody up.
Yeah.
And they're just like, all right, this is at least interesting. I've never heard that it was good, but at least, you know, they're like, all right.
But you're cool with that.
I am.
So you just like, it's kind of like you're not doing it to build a following, right? I mean, there's really no, it's not practical. It really is a more pure, it's art for art's sake.
Yeah, I think that's, I think that gets to it. Yeah.
I think too that an answer to that question is there's very little to do in Northeast Pennsylvania, so you have to entertain yourself how you can.
Might as well.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it.
Well, I think it's great. You know, I think, look, better to be doing performance art than being Taylor fucking Swift, climate criminal. Cancel Taylor Swift 170 flights this year, people. AITA. I am saying YTA Swift.
What does that shake out to on the footprint calculator?
Oh my God. They said it was something like, compared to the average American, 22,000 minutes in the air, 1,000 times, 1,185 times more than the average person's total annual emissions. Think about that when you listen to Shake It Up. Fuck you, Taylor Swift. I am saying it. I'm just kidding, guys. I know the Swifties are vicious. I am just joking. Do not come for me, please. But I mean, and you know what what people were saying actually on Reddit, that like everyone was, oh yeah, because everyone loves to hate the Kardashians,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But then somebody was like, oh, by the way, Taylor Swift is the worst offender here. And then everyone's like, well, is it really that big of a deal? Is it really that big? Because I love Taylor Swift too.
Oh yeah.
They're bangers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's beautiful. She's self-made. She's got something for her. She's queer. She's got something for everyone.
Yeah.
You know?
They also play, at least they used to play Shake It Off on planes a lot. Like, I feel like every time I go on a plane, that would be the song. Yeah.
And isn't she like originally from Pennsylvania or something too?
She is, yes.
Even got the Pennsylvanians on her side.
Oh man, they got a picture of her Falcon 7X. She just flew, it looks like, into Nashville. 1 hour and 58-minute flight, it looks like. So 752 gallons of fuel, you guys.
That is a lot of fuel.
But do we really want Taylor to have to sit in a car all day? She's Taylor Swift.
I mean, maybe she could.
I mean, that's my best defense here.
Maybe she could do like a ride share private jet at least, Maybe her and Chloe could go to Nashville.
There we go. Work with someone.
Yeah. Make like carpool lanes.
For
something.
private jets. Can you and
Private
Pharrell or whatever? I don't really know who she rolls. Well, she rolls with the Planet the Disco guy. Why don't you and Brendan?
yeah.
Or
Oh,
whatever?
Brendan Urie?
Yeah, why don't you and Brendan Urie maybe carpool a little bit? It's a little excessive, Taylor.
Parachute out in Springfield, Missouri if he needs to.
Yeah,
I
I
don't know.
mean, he's fine to do
Yeah.
that. They can use that as a shot for the next music video.
Saving so much time and money. There you go.
Love it. All right, guys. I'm actually really afraid of the Swifties. We're going to have to edit this shit. Second story of the day. AITA for laughing at my sister's anniversary gift to her husband.
Ooh.
Oh, boy. But first, folks, it's AITA for throwing my husband's dinner in the garbage. We have a rather small kitchen. There's basically only two places to stand while cooking: in front of the counter or in front of the stove. Oh boy. I have frequently asked my husband to please stay out of the kitchen if I am in there cooking, because there's just no room for two people and he will be in the way. He constantly ignores this request. Last night he came into the kitchen at kind of a critical point. While I had stuff in the frying pan, was preparing stuff at the counter, he stood in front of the stove and I was just waiting for him to move so that I could get to it. Then he said, this looks like it's burning. Are you even gonna do anything? In exasperation, I yelled, move! But instead he stood there and started lecturing me to, can you not yell? Actually, this is my kitchen and I have every right to be in here also. By the time he finished, the stuff in the pan was well and truly burnt. Scraped it into the trash and told him to go make his own effing dinner because it was his kitchen too, huh? AITA.
Ooh, I can relate in a way because we have a small kitchen and we're not, I don't think we've ever had a situation where we got that angry or anything. But I know sometimes you're cooking something and I'm like, oh, I need to go grab something or vice versa. It can be challenging.
Well, Kat, we did have a lot more kitchen strife at our previous apartment.
We did.
When we did not have a dishwasher.
That's true. Because one of us would be. Yeah, you gotta have a dishwasher.
I don't have a dishwasher. It's miserable.
It is.
It
is. It's life-changing. This is the first time I've ever had a dishwasher and it's life-changing. Highly recommend if you.
I feel gross because, it's just I can't get things clean enough to where I'm 100% comfortable. I wash them with the dishwasher soap. I've got all these brushes, but that hot dishwasher, it gets so hot in there and it's so clean. And guys, this isn't sustainable, but so what I do is for silverware, I just keep the silverware that comes with the seamless, the plastic forks and the plastic spoons. I keep it in a drawer and that's what I use,
I mean, without a dishwasher, I can't fault you.
Can I get a pass here?
Ooh, you want to hear something wild?
Taylor Swift cruise missile hits the apartment.
All right, so I get this, right?
Here we go.
So some of the compostable takeout utensils, like forks, spoons, the compostable kind, right? Different places or different counties have different equipment to deal with that stuff.
Right.
In Los Angeles, our composting is very new. So we are actually not able to properly compost the compostable forks, knives, spoons.
Oh, no.
I learned this when I was working with a company called EcoSet on an ad shoot doing sustainability stuff. And so what I learned from talking to them is our composting sorting infrastructure is not able to sort out things as small as a fork and a spoon. So it just winds up getting landfilled anyway.
Oh.
Yikes.
So this is just another situation where it's like you try to do the right thing and it's just the system is stacked against you.
Yeah.
You go to
What
a different
shame.
you go to a different county and they might have the infrastructure to deal with that stuff.
Right.
But right now we don't.
So what about this husband and wife though?
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
you guys had kitchen strife.
Yeah,
Because let me tell you
yeah.
something. I don't cook really. I make like a reheat chicken that I bought at Costco, basically like frozen chicken that's already cooked.
Oh, it's good chicken.
You know? And then sometimes I throw it in the space heater or whatever the fuck it's called, air fryer. And yeah, I throw it in the space heater. What?
Yeah.
You know, it's sustainable because I'm heating myself and I'm heating the chicken. No, I throw it in the air fryer and I'll take a bite out of it and the middle's still frozen, but that's safe because it's already been cooked. That's the kind of animal that I am. But you guys had kitchen strife. What was that about?
Yeah, I mean, it was the same thing. It's just like a small kitchen and two people trying to, like, I'm trying to make myself a coffee and he's trying to make his lunch and we're both working from home.
We
and
also had
Yeah.
our
Our-
divvying of chores.
yeah.
And so I took on, I will be the dishwasher. And before we had the dishwasher,
Yeah.
this led to me when I was lazy, not doing the dishes and having a massive pile of dishes
It
and
was pretty
food scraps.
massive. Yeah.
And then when I decided to do the dishes, I would just be scrubbing for what felt like an eternity.
And you'd be mad
Yeah.
because
I'd
you
be
had left the
very
dishes.
mad.
You're mad at yourself
Mad
for
at myself
leaving
for leaving
yeah.
the dishes. Yeah.
Yeah. If I were like, so I can understand the feelings of frustration that both of them are having. However, I think that I can, be a little bit more on OP's side for this one initially because like she has a time sensitive thing happening. She's cooking dinner and dinner is burning and she needs to take care of this thing and she can't
Right.
get to it. So even though like I don't think that it's the best it's the best thing ever to let your frustration result in you blowing up at your partner in some way. Sometimes that just happens in the moment and then you apologize for it later. And I think that him being like, wait, no, I need an apology. Or I don't know if he said that, but like, you yelled
Right,
at
that
me.
was his energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's for later. Like right now, the thing is something is burning in the pan. So you get out of the way, you take care of the thing, you don't let the dinner burn. And then once the immediate situation is dealt with, then it's like, hey, I'm sorry that I blew up in that moment. I could have probably said that a little bit nicer. What can we do to keep this solution? What solution can we come to so this doesn't happen again?
Yeah, and I feel like you're putting it all on her too, but he also did fuck up. He was ignorant of what she was doing.
Yeah.
He went in and, he fucked around and found out. And it's like, well, dog, she's literally making you food.
Yeah.
And now you're in her thing. You weren't part of the help process. You weren't involved. And now you just think you can walk in the kitchen and do whatever you want. And then it's like, my feelings hurt. And it's like, you stupid fuck.
Yeah. What do you think, Kyle?
I think there are a couple of eternal rules at play here. One, if someone makes you food, you be grateful. And following up with that, don't fuck with fire. If something is burning,
Yeah.
boy,
Very true.
you can deal with your feelings later. Fire won't wait for you.
They
Yeah.
should add those to the 10 Commandments. Those were misses. Don't fuck with fire. And if someone makes food for you, be grateful.
Yeah.
It's so true.
Definitely. And I mean, I can't even a lot of the time because it's just like food sensitivities and stuff. Like I can't always eat something that someone makes for me, but when they make it for me, I am still going to be so grateful
Yeah.
because
You're
they-
sensitive? What
they
are you
did a
sensitive
thing.
to?
I can't eat a lot of things that are like unfortunately delicious because fats are actually the thing that I
Oh,
have
fats?
trouble digesting. Yeah, but one time, this Christmas, a friend of mine was like, "I'm gonna make some Christmas cookies for our whole improv team," and I was like, "Oh," and she said, "Does anyone have any dietary restrictions?" And I was like everyone, and I was like, "But it's okay. I can bring my own cookies. It's fine. Like I'm used to that." And she's like, "No, tell me." And I was like, "Okay, if you're serious, I can't have anything really with like fats in it because that like really hurts my stomach and it's hard to digest." There were a couple other things too. I'm like, I don't do really well with like fruits and I don't do really well with
Jesus.
like, yeah. And she's like, "No, and so she got these cookies. She made these amazing cookies. They were so delicious. They tasted like brownies and I could eat them and it was like the nicest thing anyone ever
Yeah,
did for me.
yeah.
It was so nice.
You know what? I relate with this because I love non-alcoholic beer.
Yeah.
I went to my friend's wedding and he got like my favorite brand. It's called Athletic.
Oh, Athletic
Happily,
is good.
Right? I'll happily promote this brand. I love Athletic.
Have you ever had Brewdog?
I have not had Brewdog.
Brewdog is Athletic used to be my favorite, and Brewdog is better. Yeah, but they're both really good.
I gotta have it. Top comment: Cake Eating Rabbit writes, "NTA, my petty solution would be to just leave the kitchen every single time he does this and stop cooking. Order yourself something, eat cereal, be petty, be consistent." Guys, I think we see eye to eye on this. I feel like, look, the husband walked in, he ruined the dinner. She was harsh in her manner, but appropriately, right? She was doing something, he fucked it up. He was being obtuse. Like, read the room, dog. She's cooking something in your tiny kitchen. AITA for throwing my husband's dinner in the garbage. I think we agree. It's NTA, and he is.
Yep, I'd say NTA.
Agree.
Here we go, folks. Up next, it's AITA. AITA for laughing at my sister's anniversary gift to her husband. My 24F sister, Zara, 31F, and husband, Will, 35M, recently had their first wedding anniversary and invited some fam over for a small dinner. Long story short, after dessert, Zara said she had a gift for Will. I thought it was going to be some grand gesture, but then Zara gave him a painting she did of Will and his late father. Now Zara does art as a hobby, and she's a very good artist, and I get the sentimental value, but I sort of let out a laugh because it seemed like she was half-assing giving him a painting, instead of a proper gift. Me and my boyfriend give nice gifts and splurge on one another, but I didn't say anything because not everyone's the same. Zara noticed though and asked why I laughed. I tried to play it off. She kept insisting, so I said I thought it was funny she was half-assing her husband's anniversary gift. She looked hurt. Will said he loves the painting and I was an idiot. We left after that, but was I wrong for laughing? I literally didn't say anything, and it was Zara who kept insisting. AITA.
Oh, I have so many thoughts about this, OP. Whoa.
OP, all you had to do was lie. You fool. I laughed because I thought of Rick and Morty. Anything but what you said, sir.
Yeah. I mean, I would have even said, like, oh, sometimes when things are really sentimental, I laugh because it's out of nerves. Something. Yeah. What a bitch. Oh my God. Like, I mean, I'm the sort of person who, like,
Wait, who did you just call a bitch?
OP.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, no. I'm the sort of, I love, and I probably shouldn't call people bitches, but that was my initial reaction.
Yeah.
So I feel like I'm the sort of gift receiver where I really like to get things that are like personal and special and small. Like I always say, like, someone's like, well, Kyle's like, well, what kind of gifts do you like? I think we had this conversation and I was like, give me something stupid that you find like at a thrift store, or like make me something, like because Kyle does art too and everything. And I love to make art gifts for people and I put like a lot of work into them and everything. And I think that that's really special and significant. And I would like so much rather get a painting from, especially like, my partner who is a really talented artist that was, special and significant to me in some way, instead of getting like a vacuum or a bracelet or something. And I also think like what just really rubbed me the wrong way was like my husband and I give each other nice gifts. That made me so mad.
I take umbrage at gift giving culture in general. I find that there's often a lot of guilt associated with gifting and a lot of pettiness. Specifically a nice gift. There's kind of an expectation of, and value judgment of the thing you are supposed to be giving to different folks. I think to me, this kind of relates to playing with expectations at an art show, or me calling my screamy stuff poetry, other folks calling it spoken word, right? It is very presumptuous of you to dictate what the standard of a gift is, especially if it's like your own partner's gift. You know each other better. And like shitting on the effort that someone put into making an art or physically making something is just an art is just so petty and demeaning. And like, sure, I guess like you're doing more for the economy by keeping the capitalist machine running. Great. Buy a gift, give a gift.
Sure.
But like, God, it's just mean.
Yeah, no, I think this is a fundamental thing because, like, look, let's be honest. I'm an artist. I'm on the artist spectrum. You guys are farther on the artist spectrum. I think that's fair. You know, I won't do art for art's sake. You know, I'm always thinking like, how will this connect with an audience, right? And that's marketing, and there is like overlap, right?
Sure.
I think I'm more of a moderate. You guys are cooler than me, really. You're more Brooklyn. Let's be real, okay?
Danny, I don't know. We're sitting in your living room that is a home studio. You have a synthesizer in the corner.
That's fair.
You have
I
a
do have the synth.
bitchin' lava lamp.
The lava
behind
lamp.
you.
I think that if
I'll take
get a
some
lava
credit.
lamp, we could be on a similar level, but we're not there yet.
I'll take it. No, if you guys are
Yeah.
giving me higher artist status, wow, I'll definitely grab that. But I think some people don't understand the value of art and the value of the thoughtfulness that gets put into it and the individuality. And that can be a very binary thing. Like, I feel like I've dated people for 5 years who didn't get it. And that's okay. But the thing is that this person, I feel like the slight problem, and I feel like this is what you're on about, Kyle, really, is that to their credit, they did say, me and my boyfriend give nice gifts and splurge on one another, but I didn't say anything because not everyone's the same. So they seem to acknowledge that these are not universal standards.
Yeah.
But my issue is that they don't seem to understand that a nice gift doesn't necessarily mean an expensive, mass-produced fucking piece of jewelry that you bought at, what is it called? Tiffany's. Give me a break.org. But really, what is OP's sin here? Okay, we obviously don't share their values because they would rather get the nice blue box that's been mass marketed. Thank you. But their sin was just not shutting the fuck up.
Yeah.
A classic case of just
Yeah.
don't say that.
I think too, like, I really like the brother for just being like, you're an idiot. Like,
You're an idiot.
That was the perfect response. I mean, my sister would never behave this way. I don't think my sister is not this socially inept, but if she did, I would just say, you're an idiot, and they'd probably say, yeah, you're right, sorry.
Do you have a different take on this, Kat, being a person with siblings? I am an only child, so I don't what do you do with a brother?
Only.
What do you do with a sister?
I mean, I feel like with my sister, when we were little, we would like fight a little bit more. But I also think that we were like very honest with each other, and you know, we have a good rapport, and we always like assume the best of each other. So if one of us behaves in a way that's like maybe not the best, then the other one can kind of just say, "Hey, stop being an idiot," because then it's like, oh yeah, this person who knows me, they know that I can do better, basically. So if I said that to my sister, then she would, again, it would probably in this situation, honestly, because she's a better person than I am. So she would probably be the one calling me out on something. In fact, she has in the past, and she said like, hey, maybe don't do that because that's bad for whatever reason. And I'm like, oh yeah, thanks for calling me out on that. That was deserved.
So the next time we hang out with your sister, I'm going to engineer a scenario where we get to watch this play out.
Okay, I'm excited. Looking forward to it.
Love it. AITA for laughing at my sister's anniversary gift to her husband. I think on the title, literal, you know, laughing is involuntary. That's
yeah.
okay. You know, if it was a fucking gallon of hot dog water, I would laugh.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Laughing. No, like if we're taking it literally
Yeah.
by the title, like, no, the laughing was not the asshole thing, especially since they said they couldn't help it. You know, sometimes that happens.
Right.
But it was the response after. You can lie.
Yeah, no, and sometimes it's right to lie. This is
Yeah.
what they don't tell you in the media. It's okay to, some would call this a white lie. I think it's just a good, clean lie. Sometimes it's better to lie.
Yeah.
You know, that's really interesting. I wonder if I think I'm feeling a lot of internalized Catholic guilt right now.
Really?
I grew up Byzantine Catholic, and I
Byzantine
realized
Catholic? What the
Byzantine.
fuck is that?
Yeah,
Oh,
so
that's-
it's a sect of the Russian Orthodox that went back under the Pope. So it's like you get all like the cool sounding and art things from the Russian tradition, but it's also very conservative and very hardline. So I learned when I was a kid that like if you lie, you're gonna go straight to hell.
Yeah.
And I've sort of internalized that as an adult. And I often find that I'm in social situations where I'm like, this happened at a stand-up show once, right?
Yeah.
This comedian,
Oh,
you know,
this
he's doing this crowd work bit and he's going to people like, yo, dog, you smoke pot? You like pot, dog? And at the time, I had not ever tried any sort of cannabis voluntarily. I was locked in a car when I was a kid with it once, but that's neither here nor there. So me being a truth-telling fool, I'm like, no, I'm not really into it. And this guy's like, why the hell not? And me, I'm not not able to stop telling the truth. So I'm like, look, I had this really bad experience when I was a kid, and it turns into this like weird roast of me.
I
And
was
I'm
in
just
the
like,
bathroom the whole time, and I come out, and Kyle's like practically crying at the table, and I'm like, what
and
happened?
I'm just like, shit, why did I not just say, hell yeah, dog? And I would have looked so cool.
Yeah.
And so I think like, you know, when it comes to laughing and stuff, I think for me, it warrants examining what is it in yourself that makes you laugh at, you know, this kind of gift. Like laughing in itself isn't evil, but I think in the situation, laughing at a sincere gift for someone is like kind of mean. And like the, you know, the sin of not telling the truth. I mean, it's a skill that I wish I had. I'm trying to learn how to do it. But I think the assholery comes down to a character trait. And I think it's worth, you know, examining how can you not be one so reactive and you know, maybe like why do you feel the need to laugh at something like that, you know?
They were laughing because they felt superior.
Yeah.
Right, which is
Yeah.
a key like kind of rule. You don't want to make the audience feel superior in some way. Yeah, I know. I think you're right, and I think they should reflect. I don't think they will. I think they think they're better than artists, but
Yeah.
it's out there, people. All right, we're gonna wrap this thing up, folks. AITA for refusing to pay for her hotel room. I rent out the spare bedroom in my house for $800 a month. I don't know my roommate very well, but we work for the same company. I work early. Really? Your roommate and your coworker, you don't know them very well. Okay, OP. I work early mornings and she works late evenings, so we're often ships passing in the night. On Friday, my hot water heater broke. The home warranty guys said they couldn't get anyone out until Monday morn. Well, it's hot as balls right now, so I wasn't too upset. A few cold showers won't kill anybody. I texted my tenant, hot water is out until Monday, and she responded, thumbs up emoji. I didn't see her all weekend, normal, as I said. The guy got here at 8 a.m. to fix the heater. When he was done, I texted her to let her know hot water was back. She hits me with this gem, quote, my hotel bill was $250. Do you want to reimburse me now or deduct it from next month's rent? I stared at the text for a good while. I didn't even know she was gone. She got a hotel room just for hot water? That's extra. She could have showered at work, but she got a hotel room? I texted, hey, I didn't know you left. Rent is still due in full on the first of the month, regardless of if you chose to sleep elsewhere for a weekend. She texted me back, there was no water. I couldn't stay there. You're my landlord and have to provide me with livable accommodations. I texted back, there was water, just not hot. If it was winter, you might have a point. Rent is still due in full. Failure to pay rent will result in me filing with the court, which will impact your credit. She stopped responding. I texted a friend who said I was way too harsh and should have just countered with a $50 discount for the 2 days, which sure, if she'd asked for a $50 reduction, that would have been reasonable, but I'm not paying for a hotel, and the audacity of her to ask pisses me off. But I know jumping to talking about filing a 30 days is a bit dramatic. Was AITA.
Why just the thumbs up emoji? This whole thing could have been resolved if she had not just sent not to just this person, this landlord sucks, I think, but also like, why not just say, okay, I'm going to stay in a hotel because you are required to give me livable accommodations. Can you reimburse me for this? What is the budget? Something but the thumbs up emoji. Why?
Now, communication breakdown. However, I think landlords as a species have notoriously low emotional IQ or EQ.
I've been a landlord.
Have you?
You forgot. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Well, this was before I came
Awkward.
into the picture.
Okay.
So-
Awkward leftist moment.
boy.
Honey, I'm a landlord.
I think if you were a landlord, initially he should have said the water will be out until Monday. Does that work for you? Do you need accommodations? Like, you can't just expect someone to be like, oh, you're not going to have any hot water, nothing, sorry.
Yeah, but I mean, it
lived-
was a hot summer. How hot are we talking?
Okay.
I don't know. I
If it's
didn't
a
think it
hot
was
summer,
that crazy.
It's a hot summer and you are like sweating, maybe you go for a walk, maybe it's Texas, you go for a walk around the block and you're soaked in sweat. You need to like get clean afterwards.
Okay, here's what I will say, and I'm not saying this is right, but as far as like expectations and what people have and everything, I lived for a month in Portland, Oregon. After I broken up with my ex, we lived in an apartment together, and when we broke up, I couldn't afford the rent by myself, and so I needed needed to move into a cheaper place. And there was an apartment building right across the street from us that had month-to-month efficiency apartments. And an efficiency apartment, at least in Portland, Oregon, it's like you have this big, fancy, high-end apartment building. And then in the basement, in what used to be the servants' quarters, when these places were literally built, you would have one room and you had a mini fridge and a microwave, and there was a shared bathroom for the entire floor. And the shower, and I only lived here for a month because it was terrible. It was awful. Don't ever do this unless you absolutely have to. But the shared bathroom on the floor did not have hot water. It never had hot water. Hot water was not even like included. And I think the building manager even told me that when I moved in, just so you know, there is never any hot water to shower, which is fine because I'm a yoga teacher and every gym and studio that I taught at had like tons of shower access. So I could shower there, but I knew that going in. I knew that I would not have access to hot water in this shower. It wasn't like something that took me by surprise. That said, don't ever live there.
Yeah, I mean, look, I obviously think that it's a game. This is a game, right? The landlord doesn't want to pay for accommodations. The landlord doesn't want to fairly compensate. Top comment by you, I am hurting cats. I'm going to give that a top 25 usernames. That's fun. They write, not having hot water is what's called a habitability violation. In my state, the landlord would owe the tenant a discount in the form of prorated rent. In your case, that would come to $26.67 per day. The water heater was out of commission, assuming a 30-day month. ESH, you need to learn your responsibility as a landlord. She needs to talk to you before expecting reimbursement for a hotel. You both need to learn to communicate. Now, this is moving me here because I think you're right, Kyle. There's a time for hot water, and it's usually multiple times a day, even if it is a hot day, because that shit is cleansing. It feels good. You make the shower hot, you make the shower cold. I don't know the games you people play in the water world, but those are some of mine. Okay. Now this just happened to me though, and I do think on the other side, common courtesy, common sense, mutual respect. Even though we on the left, we love to hate on the landlords. You know, I sent you guys a picture. I didn't know if we were going to be able to record today because a light fixture, which is above my head right now, was filled with what I would estimate to be a half gallon of dirty brown water. Now this is
that's the fixture.
Yeah, that's the fixture.
Yeah.
Very unnerving as it's above, all my studio equipment, all my shit. So I'm freaking out because in my mind, that's not even half the water. There's a whole puddle of water above my whole apartment, which I'm on the top floor, so I don't even know why water is above me. These are questions that are above my pay grade. Nonetheless, the apartment people management company has an emergency line for maintenance, and they sent out a plumber, an electrician, and a clean. They were ready to do all this, honestly, within 2-3 hours of this happening.
Yeah.
And I respected the expediency. And so, yeah, I could be, I was freaked out, bro. I want a couple days off. But I'm like, no, they literally pretty much acted at a 911 level. And like, I got to give them props to that. So I'm not going to go, I want 1 day prorated off my rent, because I'm like, literally, what more could they have done? I mean, it's not like they have a 911 for a plumber. Like, they had someone here within 2 hours,
Yeah. The other thing that I'm thinking too in this particular situation that I wonder is an issue isn't having hot water like technically a sanitation issue too? Like for being able to clean your, because like even in my weird efficiency apartment that I had, I still had hot water in the sink so I could wash my dishes. Like if there's no hot water at all, how can you even like wash your hands properly? Or but yeah, I mean I agree with the top comment pretty much. Like I think it was wrong for the person to just like go off and get a hotel and just assume that the landlord was going to pay for it and that there was like no, like budgetary risk. I mean, $250 for 2 days in a hotel room is, I mean, I don't know where these people live, but if they're renting a room for $800, it seems, like fairly standard-ish. And that's a pretty cheap hotel room, maybe.
Yeah.
But also, like, I mean, you don't just send the thumbs up emoji. Like, you have some communication, but that still doesn't absolve the landlord of their responsibility for giving their tenant a habitable place to live.
I think there's also something to be said about there really being an art to communicating with your landlord.
Are you going to talk about the gas heater?
Oh boy, am I ever.
Here we go.
We had this landlord in Pennsylvania. He, in the middle of the winter, the heating in our
Tell the listeners how cold Pennsylvania winters get if they're unaware.
Absolutely freezing.
Yeah.
It's icy, it's cold, it's snowy, it's a frozen hellscape. And we lived out in the country too, so it's very rural. Just not a great situation to be in. And our heating system in the apartment, it was this old house, steam heat kind of thing. The steam heater exploded. So we come home one day.
And our ceiling had caved in.
Right.
And
yes.
there was all in the entryway entryway of our apartment, 'cause it was like a duplex house place.
Yeah.
All in our entryway, it was just like ceiling pieces and
Ceiling pieces and steam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, we were left to clean that up, and we were cleaning it up for months. Yeah.
So we tell our landlord about this. He's like, oh, okay, I'll send somebody over to check it out. So he comes by and we're like, okay, we'll be at work. Do what you need to do. We come home and he says, oh yeah, so I got rid of the heater in the house. You're not going to have any to heat anymore, but I put this gas heater or whatever. So like I set it up for you. If the pilot light goes out, give me a call. I'll turn it back on for you. And
the pilot light went out every single day when we were at work because our cat would like walk past it, and his tail would like make a little breeze, and then that would turn off the pilot light.
Oh my God.
Like anything. So I would get home from work every single day. I'd usually get home a little before Kyle, and the house would be freezing. There would be no heat at all. And I would text the landlord and let him know, and he could take like hours to come and turn that thing on. It was a nightmare. Yeah.
Just like, and we did not, I mean, this is mostly me because I'm kind of afraid of authority sometimes.
A landlord is not an authority figure.
I know. I'm learning. I can talk to our new landlord, so that's good. I didn't want to. I was like, oh no, he's going to like kick us out of our apartment, or he's going to like jack up our rent if we like tell him anything bad about anything. And that's like, for me, it took me a long time to realize that like, oh, I deserve a certain quality of habitation from this person.
And are guaranteed by the law to an extent. You know?
Yeah.
There's a word that I learned on this podcast, and you probably heard me say it a lot, or a term rather, because it's 2 words, which is internalized unassertiveness. And I feel like that's right. An example of that.
Yeah. It's a mix of, I mean, it's precariousness, right? Because it sounds like you were afraid. You were afraid to lose your lodging. You know, just like, I have never, I think, been as far as you on that, but like been afraid to lose my job before. And like, you know, now after this long in the workforce, I'm kind of like, wait a second, I'm an asset. I'm making these people money. They should be afraid of losing me. You know, like it takes a long time to get there, especially because I think we all live in that precariousness. I think Gen Z has it even worse than us. You know, they're in like hell economy. Yeah. So wait, were you able to get it fixed, or did you just live like that?
We moved to LA.
Okay. There we go. That's the solution for that.
Yeah.
That was definitely an inciting incident to move someplace where it does not snow ever.
Yes.
I mean, a cold house like that. And then it's like it can impair your sleep when it's that cold. Like the air's fucking cold. I hate that. I mean, I think what's interesting about this situation is, you know, was the OP entitled to go stay at a hotel, even a cheap one as it was? I think that's arguable. I don't really know if that's true, but I think doing it without getting permission and just assuming that's gonna fly wasn't appropriate or effective. I don't know if it's asshole-ish. It doesn't really bother me. Like, I think the landlord was just like, no, because you didn't ask. You can't just do a random thing. You could have bought 10 space heaters and try to heat the water that way, and the answer would also been no. You did a random thing, you know. And then what did the landlord do? That I think the landlord, if I was going to say, I'm actually leaning NAH here. Maybe that's crazy, but I felt like the landlord, if he was a good, fair landlord, could have just said, hi, I understand why you did that, but unfortunately, like without having talked about it prior, I won't be compensating for you. That said, the law would suggest this is whatever, a habitability violation, and I'm willing to give you a prorated reimbursement of your rent for the 2 days, which would come out to $50. I think that would have been very reasonable. And I don't think he needs to be so butthurt about, oh, how dare her ask me? And it's like, well, you know, because she's young and she didn't know better, but like, you don't need to be offended. You need to be the bigger person. Aren't you the Lord?
Actually, you're bringing me over a little bit. I was like, how could this ever be NAH? Because I don't want to be on the landlord's side here. But the thumbs up emoji, it's just like, so that really was so egregious to me. Like, why would you think that would just, why did you? But then you said, you know, that this person is young and maybe they don't know, maybe they have like a little bit of anxiety around it. I almost want like more info like about that. But I think that if I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt, then I could also like, I don't think that the landlord's reaction was appropriate, but they are acknowledging that, and they are, you know, it sounds like willing to reimburse after, you know, speaking with people for, you know, the appropriate amount, not the hotel. So I'm kind of leaning ESH still, but I think I could be brought over to no assholes here.
ESH-NAH paradox. Kyle, what say you?
So I think we are looking at a ziggurat of assholery here. we have different levels of shittiness from everybody, from the foundation of this ziggurat of assholery being, the landlord has a responsibility to take care of the tenant. The next situation, the tenant has the right and the need to describe their needs and to ask for what they need. Additionally, both of them escalated way too fast with going straight to threatening litigation. So I think each step is a miscommunication and a bit of mean-spiritedness that easily could have been resolved. So I think everyone's an asshole in this
litigation
situation.
You brought me over. I missed that. He said failure to pay rent will result in me filing with the court. That's going nuclear. That wasn't necessary. This could have been a teaching moment. You're right. Everyone sucks here. The landlord should have just been honest and should have just used this and said, like, look, this is what I legally would be required to do. So FYI, because you know what? She lost money on this overall, right? Even if he gives her the $50, she lost like $100 or whatever. Or no, she lost $200.
Oh yeah, but even so, you get like a hotel room for like less than $100. Wow, I'm still on that. Like, wow, that's a good hotel deal. Unless it was just
it might have been a motel.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
And we are also just coming off of Comic-Con, where good luck finding a room anywhere.
That's true. Fair point. Okay, yeah, litigation. That's true.
That's too far.
That's true. Yes, I'm back to ESH with that one.
Yeah, and then I guess she's the asshole for just throwing that really kind of dismissive thumbs up and then not really thinking about this relationship and then just assuming. I guess that kind of makes her an asshole.
I guess even though I don't know that she's the asshole, she's just the like that was. Does being not smart about something make you an asshole?
That's the thing. Yeah, what did she do that was so bad? It was inept.
It was inept. That's it. It was a bad decision. But again, I have when I was in my early 20s, sometimes I would just be so anxious or so floored about something that I would just sort of I might respond with an emoji and then just hope it would go away and hope it would be okay. And I've learned to not do that after things like this happen. But I don't know if that makes her an asshole.
I think you brought me to YTA. What she did was make an entitled. She was entitled and she was assumptive.
Yeah.
But in the end, she didn't put anything out. She wasn't too harsh about it. She was just assuming, do you want to reimburse me now or deduct it from next month's rent? What he did was offensive in the literal definition, like the opposite of defensive, and said, do you want to go to fucking court? And it's like, okay, that was too far. I think he went way harder than her. What she did was inept. What he did was aggressive.
Now, am I remembering this correctly? She did not threaten to counter litigate on this. That was
there's nothing there.
That was somebody mentioned in the comments that she might be able to based on local laws, right?
She did not do that. She I think she ghosted. Yeah, she stopped responding, and then the friend said I was way too harsh. So even the friend would probably agree that this is a YTA.
Yeah, I'm going YTA.
AITA for refusing to pay for her hotel room. We agree. It's a hearty YTA. Guys, Kat, Kyle, the 2 Ks. Don't have a kid with a K name.
No,
don't
never
do that.
Won't do it.
Guys, thank you so much for joining me today. This has been a blast and a half. You want to do any plugging here?
Yeah, I can do a little plugging. Thank you for that.
Pluggaroo.
Let's see. I have a new book coming out. I might have mentioned that on the last podcast, but if I didn't, it is called Yoga Inversions: Your Guide to Going Upside Down, published by Shambhala Publications, and that will be available wherever you get your books next summer 2023. And you can find out about that on Instagram. I am at Kat Hegbergler. That is KATHEAGBERGLAR, and it is an homage to the Hamburglar.
We gotta put that in the description, Kat. That was a hard one.
It is.
I post photos of garbage on my Instagram. That is at Kyle Von Rebarf, and I have a Bandcamp with some instrumentals that of the same name. Wherever I am usually Kyle Von Rebarf.
Oh, can I get one more plug too?
Go ahead,
okay.
Plug away.
Also,
you guys are writing these down after. We got some really hard links here.
Oh yeah, my Instagram handle is problematic, in that no one can spell it. But also I do have a podcast that is currently on hiatus. Yeah. But it is coming back in full force this fall with some new episodes. It's called Dark Side
of the Mat.
Yes, Dark Side of the Mat, where we explore the creeps, cults, and crimes of the yoga world. So basically,
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
It's a yoga true crime podcast.
That is so specific. We love to see it. Well, guys, thanks so much for joining me, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.